movie Airplane is one of the funniest movies of all time. It's a foundation for so many other movies that today we still see, like Scary Movie, Epic Movie, Disaster Movie, all these kind of movies. But Airplane is the beginning part of it. But what I liked about Airplane, I think people don't talk about it enough, is the Airplane was somewhat of a window in time when air aviation was becoming more accessible to the general public. The movie came out in 1980, and about the year before, the airlines had become deregulated. Jimmy Carter signed the Airline Deregulation Act, which allowed airlines to charge whatever they wanted and fly wherever they wanted. And so they had to be competitive and compete for customers. So that meant air travel was no longer exclusive to high upper class rich folk. It became available to people of all walks of life, economic and racial backgrounds. And in the movie, you see that on display repeatedly through jokes. And in the airport is shown in a very chaotic way. There's just so many people there, and it's the airport we see today whenever we travel. You see people, just all this traffic, cars trying to get in and drop off folk all the time. You see people going in and out, and you see people carrying luggages. Like, that chaotic scene is with us today. And at the same time, you'll see how airports have become just littered with solicitors, or people just trying to sell you something or give you something, or who are trying to do their political causes. I mean, now that's no longer the case. I think airports are now, because of 9/11 and TSA and security reasons, airports now don't have that type of solicitation as much as they used to. But back then, you just saw that so many people had treated the airport as a public forum to express themselves, get people to support their causes. And there's a funny scene where one of the characters, I think his name is Rex Kramer, when he's coming in, he legit is trying to get to the air traffic control room, and he has to beat up all these people.
We'd like you to have this flower. Excuse me, sir, would you... Donation for the Reverend Moon? Juice for Jesus? Read about Jehovah's Witness? How about Buddhism? Jerry's Kids? Oh, yeah. Scientology? Or nuclear power?
So that was a very funny scene, but it highlights the diversity of people that were congregating at airports. And then on the plane itself, the planes themselves are very diverse. If you look at the passengers, you see people who are black, you see people who are Buddhist, you see people who are Japanese, who are Sikh, who are doctors. The airplane is a mini United Nations. And there's a funny scene that illustrates how diverse the aviation has become. It's not really a scene, but it's more of just a theme. You see one of the main characters, Ted, tell his story 3 times. He tells a story to a passenger sitting next to him, and each time the passenger finds it so boring and uninteresting that they end up committing suicide. And they commit suicide in their own cultural ways. The white woman, she hangs herself, and the Japanese man commits seppuku, and the Sikh man is going to just burn himself alive. And it's funny because these characters are all trying to communicate to him. They don't want to hear his story subtly, but he just tells them anyway. But they get out in their different ways, and that diversity is somewhat used in a comedic effect because they're able to tell this joke in a variety of ways of him just being boring and uninteresting, and him not getting social cues. And then also you see the staff also becoming diverse, and the pilots. So one of the pilots, his name is Akeem Jabbar. Maybe I'm getting it wrong, but he's a black co-pilot. He's helping fly the plane. And what's interesting is that aviation, it was, I think, diversifying a little bit back then, not so much as it is now, but it was diversifying, and they were hiring more people. So you see him working in the cockpit. You also get to see that diversity, chaotic element, as when you see one of the female passengers, she's freaking out, and you see a row of passengers each carrying their own weapon to get her to calm down. And these characters are all from different walks of life, and they're carrying their own preferred choice of weapon. These weapons are just as diverse as the people in the line, and it's a way to just exaggerate the comedy of the scene.
Can't stand it anymore. I've got to get out of here. I've got to get out of here. Calm down. Get a hold of yourself.
Stewardess, please let me handle this.
I've got to get
Calm down. Now get back to your seat. I'll take care of this. Calm down. Calm down. Get a hold of yourself.
Doctor, you're one on the phone. Everything's going to be all right. Please.
Sister, please, I'll handle this.
I've got to get out of here. Out of here. I've got to get out of here.
In a very brilliant way, and it's it makes me laugh out loud whenever I get to see it. But I think those are some of the elements. So I think the film really just hits at the fact that air travel is becoming diverse, and they use the diversity to exaggerate and exemplify the comedic effects of the disaster, of this absurdity of the plane, of the travel experience for the passengers and for the audience.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.